Good afternoon, everybody. It is Tuesday afternoon at 4 p.m. Eastern Time. I'm happy to see you today, and you can see lovely reflection of new lights being set up. And this is one of the very first broadcasts into the group directly. I'm trying out a few different things, so I might do it in the group. I might do it on my page sometimes. Probably I will be mostly exclusively in the group, so group members are going to get the best content. The best publishing advice, the best insights, the best new tools, the best interviews. People who are in the group will get the best content moving forward. So I'm really glad that you're here to join me today. We're having a discussion about this interview with Tucker Max. Can't post comments to Facebook groups. Interesting. And I'm obviously still learning about the technology, so I guess I will have to post comments on the video in the group live, perhaps. So let's see where we are. Oh, here we are. The video is coming through live, and I can comment on it. Here is the Tucker Max article. If you're watching, welcome. Thank you for joining us. Let me know where you're joining me from in the comments, please. And thank you to whoever is watching. Feel free to comment as I go through this discussion today. And it really is a discussion because I just happened to come across this article that was an interview with Tucker Max, who is someone who's fairly well known in media and publishing. As he's known as being really a disruptor and doing things in new and different ways, which is really what self-publishing is all about these days. It's the epitome of media creation, which is having the idea in your head that you're going to create content in the future, and then packaging up the future idea of this media content, this discussion that you're going to create, packaging it up and promoting it ahead of time, and even going so far as to bring in sponsors. Book publishing is the most amazing thing, where you can really create anything that you want and leverage every single other media channel that exists, even leveraging the other channels where you may be creating content on a regular basis, or in your past. If you're looking for content for your book to create, the likelihood is, if you're an expert in something, you've already created the content around it, and your book will be fairly easy to create. Whether you're looking for a ghostwriter or a co-author to help you do the writing of your books, or you're planning to publish a book that's an anthology book, one of the common questions that my clients come to me with is, should I have you publish for me, Debbie, under Sparkle Publishing, Social Sparkle and Shine, or should I publish myself under my own publishing imprint? And there's some situations where it really makes sense to have your own publishing business that is publishing your own self-published books. And there are other situations where it definitely makes more sense to have somebody else who's publishing for you. So from a technical standpoint, when you're publishing your book, you have the ISBN number, which is allocated technically to the publisher. So the publisher owns the this edition of your book. you have a publishing contract with them that gives them the legal rights to publish this edition that they've created with you. That's how the publishing industry works, at least in Canada. You can get your BN numbers for free if you're in Canada. And if you're having somebody else who is your publisher, then technically they own the publishing. They own the ISBN, the ISBN number, and therefore they are your publisher, their brand. And it would really it would kind of reduce the legitimacy of your book to have somebody else publish your book, but then not use their name to publish your book. When you're not a publisher, right? Like if publishing isn't something that you're doing, it's not something that you're offering to the world, it's not something that you're an expertise in. And publishing doesn't mean that you need to know how to publish. That's the funny thing. Just like saying you want to become a book author doesn't mean that you need to write. Deciding that you want to become a book publisher doesn't mean that you need to know how to publish books. Certainly you need to know something about publishing books in order to become a publisher. And you need to know something about storytelling in order to become a book author. But you don't need to actually take on the work of writing. So what I found fascinating about this interview with Tucker Max, where he's talking about how the publishing industry used to work, and he's 100% spot on. It was funny to me while I was reading this article the first time through to see that I was actually agreeing with most of the things that Tucker says, because I have been following him for a little while at least. And usually I find myself agreeing with the people who say that they don't like him so much, that they're not so fond of him, because I find there's some things about his personality that just don't really fit with me. And I've seen lots of comments and things that he's done that are kind of, like, I'm just keeping my eye on him because he's a publisher and very well known. And he's got a ton of experience and a ton of success. So I still want to see what he's talking about, and see where I can learn from what he's doing, and share with you as well. So this article today, he was talking about, how publishing used to be really different. If you wanted to get your book published, the only way to do it was to go through the gatekeepers of book publishers. And it used to be for 400 years, for almost 600 years now. For nearly 600 years, the book publishing industry has existed. And the way that it's existed is, if you wanted to get your book published, if you're an author and you've written any kind of book, the only way to get it published is to have a publisher, who would be the person, the organization that can print and distribute the physical copies of your books. That's what book publishing has been for 600 years. If the publisher doesn't decide that printing and distribution of your books is going to be a winning opportunity for them, a profitable opportunity for them to participate in, they have no interest in your books. And then, of course, now Amazon has changed the entire publishing industry and made it possible for anyone with internet access and a message that needs to be shared with the world, gives them the opportunity to become a published book author. By uploading their files, their book files, to Amazon and publishing. So if you publish your book on KDP, for publishing on Amazon, and you put nothing in the if you put nothing in the publisher field when you're publishing your book, and you don't give attribution to another company or to your own brand imprint, then it will automatically give KDP's brand of self-publishing, which makes your book visibly self-published. And a lot of people, as people judge books by their cover, a lot of people judge books by their cover, and they're going to judge your book when they see that it's self-published. And they're going to say, oh, well, you know what? The entire publishing history, if you can't get a publisher for your book, that means it's not good enough. It means the publisher doesn't believe in it. It means nobody's going to believe in it. No one's ever going to see the light of day. The book is never going to see the light of day, and no one's ever going to read it because it won't get published, because it just doesn't have that interest. And so it is beneficial. When I'm working with clients, I normally do recommend that they have an external publisher. Whether it's my company or not, there is some benefit to my business, always being connected to my clients, and it's more motivating to me, more enticing, more encouraging to me to promote authentically and sincerely the client's books where they're attributing the publishing process to me. And to my company. When on occasion I have clients that want to create their own publishing imprint, and then hire me and white label my services with their own publishing imprint. And I allow that. I do charge a fee for it, both because it is detrimental to the author's usually detrimental to the author's book positioning and promotion, and also because it's also equally detrimental to my business to not give that attribution to the work that I'm doing as their publisher. And so it's interesting, but the place and the time where it really makes sense to have your own publishing imprint. Your publishing imprint is the name of your publishing business, or the name that you're doing business as a book publisher. The time to create your publishing imprint is when you intend to offer services as a book publisher. So you're creating a business where you are publishing and producing or arranging for the production of a group, a category of type of books. And that's something that you're going to do under a separate brand from your own business, from your own recognizable brand and positioning. A separate business, it doesn't necessarily need to be a completely different brand, but then that is when you would want to create your own publishing company, when you actually intend to offer services as a publisher. And what a publisher does is the publisher says, I'm going to produce books on behalf of people. Now, you don't have to have a printing press. I could hardly even say the word. It's so old-fashioned. You don't have to have a printing press. You don't have to be a book designer. You don't have to be a book author or writer or editor or any of these various things in order to be a book publisher. You just have to be someone with a vision and the intention to help other book authors become published. And to become published at the very basic, of course, at the very minimum, and to be well distributed if you are more experienced, more qualified, and I guess just, better quality, or higher level services for your author clients, and the authors that you're working with, that you contract through your publishing imprint. Some publishers like myself are just obviously just straight charge for services. For me and my approach, I try and make book publishing as painless as possible for my clients. And it really, what I've learned about book publishing, because I took it on, I started publishing books 7 years ago, more than 7 years ago. I started self-publishing books more than 7 years ago because I was planning to write my own book and discovered self-publishing existed and wanted to figure out the technology in advance of writing my book, so that I would know what I wanted to write. Like, did I want to write a short book, a long book, nonfiction, fiction, like what was going to be my entry into the marketplace, and how did I want to start my journey as a best-selling book author. Where was I going to start that journey? Obviously, it doesn't start as a best-selling book author. It starts with an idea. It starts with realizing that there's an opportunity to get your message out there and have your voice. And it is important to recognize when you're putting your content out there, whether it be as a book or interviews or events, or however you're producing your content. It's important to remember that the key is really just project management. You have an end goal in mind. You need to determine the steps that you're going to need to take to get to your end goal, or work your way back from the end goal to get to those steps. And also really, like, having that plan clearly is going to help you out. Having your own name as a publisher, the only time where I really strongly recommend, what I really strongly recommend you avoid doing, is publishing your book under your own imprint and having it look exactly the same as your business, as your book. Making it look self-published, even with, like, making it look self-published, but making your publisher look like you are desktop publishing. Like 20 or 30 years ago, how you would publish a book, right? Before Amazon was the way to publish. So that, that's my main thought on if you want to become your own publisher or not. The ISBN number does go to the publisher. So if you have somebody else publishing your book, actually, yeah. If you have somebody else publishing your book for you, then and you have your own ISBN number, then you would want to ensure that there's someone like myself who publishes your book under your accounts, your access, and you would want to own your own ISBN number, and then use your own publishing imprint, if that makes sense. If that doesn't make sense, or that got a little bit convoluted in the message because it feels like it came out weird, let me know in the comments, and I'll follow up. So let me see, what was the next thing that we were going to talk about? Talk about this. And then, where did I put that Facebook? It was here. Yep. Okay, so here's my Facebook Live. Um, so I'm just going to go take a look at the article. So I might as well share the screen and practice a little bit. Is good with at least 2 monitors. Okay, but I don't know how to do 2 monitors. So application window. Screen. Share. Share audio. There is no audio. Share. Oh, this one. Okay. Sorry. Jesus, this technology is so interesting. Okay, so here's Tucker's article, and he made Simon and Schuster give him his own publishing imprint, which, of course, I mean, really what it means is that he is becoming a project manager, and he has a final vision for his own publishing company, for his own imprint, for his own profile, like editorial profile, the type of books that he's publishing through Simon and Schuster, through their distribution channels, and books that he really is Tucker's own publishing imprint through Simon and Schuster is very much more like a traditional publisher than like my own publishing services, or a vanity publisher or other types of publishing, self-publishing assisted self-publishing companies. So it is really what he's done is he's just taken his massive audience and said, listen, I know a lot about book publishing. I know I can get a lot of people to pay me or go into business with me in a book publishing contract and an agreement. I know that I can get them to do that and we can make a profit from it. And that's a pretty, a pretty sweet deal for Simon and Schuster because, they're in an okay position as far as publishing companies go because they have a reputation for publishing books that are education based. But at the same time, all traditional publishing companies are struggling. And the reason why they're struggling is because they have to evolve in order to keep up with the marketplace. Amazon created the marketplace. Now Simon and Schuster have to evolve. And one of the ways that they're doing that is by giving people who have these massive platforms established. Lena Dunham, who is the writer and creator of the show series Girls, she has her own publishing imprint. I can't remember which publishing company it was with, but they gave her a publishing company. And what does that mean she does? She doesn't actually have to do the, like roll up her sleeves and sweat over a printing press or design anything. She's doing project management and she has a vision for the type of books that she wants to bring to the marketplace, for the type of authors who she feels their message needs to be distributed through her distribution channels, through her publishing company. So that, and also that is, I guess what I'm discussing is really the benefits of having a traditional publisher, is that existing publishing company that they have. So for nonfiction authors, he talks about 3 questions that you should ask yourself before you should write your book, which I completely disagree with. I think that these are important questions that you need to ask yourself, but not before you allow yourself permission to write your book, right? Like if you have a message to share, start writing your book. And commit yourself to publishing your book, whether you get it published by a traditional publisher or you're going to self-publish it yourself. commit yourself to putting your message out there, getting your book out there. It's not as hard as you think it is. Once you get your first book out there, you'll probably have more coming. I started publishing books in 2013, and the first 2 books that I published were crap. I published them under a pen name, really more so that I could test what publishing on Amazon was like and see if a crap book would make any money. And the answer is yes, it could at the time. I don't know that they still can, but there is definite reason why you want to publish the best book that you can. However good that is, whether that is terrible in other people's eyes or not, doesn't matter. Don't let them hold you back, right? So these questions are important, and I do agree that you should ask yourself them. Question 1 is, why are you writing the book? And in essence, really, what result are you personally hoping to get from writing this book? So this is not about the audience, this is about you. How will you writing this book help you in your personal life, in your business, in other areas? Question number 2, what audience are you trying to, do you need to reach with your book in order to get that result? So really, who is the ideal reader for your book? And you don't want to say anyone of anything. Anytime you say anyone, it's probably too broad. What you do want to say is you really want to get to know the people who are most in need of your message and the people whose lives will be most transformed most quickly by your message. That is your target audience, and that's, it really truly is your primary responsibility as the book author to understand who the other authors are, that your audience, that your ideal target reader, the people who will be helped the most by your message. Who are the other authors that this target audience is getting their message from right now? And question number 3 that Tucker asks is, why is that audience going to care? What are you going to say that's interesting and valuable to them? And I say this all the time, like, you have to know how your message and how what you want to say is different from what other people are saying in the marketplace, in the community. Oh, that's interesting. I didn't even know that I had my camera on the whole time. Oh, I mean, I guess I did know I had my camera on, but I didn't. So anyways, so if I have it on this tab, hopefully you see the right screen, because I'm having a hard time telling. Maybe nope, didn't work. I don't even know if this is actually, now I feel like I screwed it up. StreamYard is sharing your screen, so we should be done sharing now. And where is StreamYard? Here we go. Oh, finally done sharing my screen. Okay, so let me just change this back really quick. Yeah, it's a real, the technology has gotten a lot more complicated in recent years. And so it's taken me a few weeks of doing these live streams to get it figured out and get my sort of the muscle memory used to thinking and working while live streaming at the same time. Oh, the other thing that we were going to talk about today, that Tucker mentioned in his article, in his interview, was the importance of your email list and how that is your primary and main currency. what you always want to recognize is the value in your email list, right? So I heard this a long time ago, and I don't know if this number has been updated since, but it was, if you were doing a very average, mediocre job of emailing your list, so emailing the list of names of people who have said to you, yes, Debbie, I want to know more about what you're talking about. If you're doing a very mediocre job of emailing your list, then what you should be able to produce is $1 per name per month value of names on your list. And so we say with book authors, the real value that traditional publishers are looking for is your established platform, your established email list, this engaged email list that you own. That's what you have to negotiate with when you're negotiating with a publisher, is how big and how engaged, how much money are you making from your email list on a monthly basis? Because that tells the publishers, it gives them an idea of how much money they'll be able to make if they publish your book. The next edition, if they distribute it further than you were able to distribute it yourself. So the email list is of critical importance. It is becoming more and more important in everyone's business, including my own. I have been far too lax on email lists for far too many years, and that's changing now. So I invite you to come with me, to join me on this evolution, this transformation. It is an epiphany to realize that the most important thing you can do is create your email list, and that gives you literally a way to create cash in your bank account, as well as a very clear, defined, concrete dollar value that you can apply to your media channels and the work that you're doing. So when you begin negotiating with other distributors, which is all the publishers are, they're distributors, they're looking to make a profit from their activities. When you're negotiating with them, the way that you can demonstrate to them the value and the opportunity of working with you is by having that email list established and created, so that you know what your value is when you're negotiating. And if they're not interested, that's fine, because you know what your value is, like, right? It's no longer a question of, do they value you properly? It's only a matter of, are they looking for your audience? So I'm going to let you all go, and we'll be back next week. Thank you very much for joining me. Please put your comments in as you watch this video, as you read the article, what you think about it. And let me know, are you planning to publish under your own publishing imprint, or will you find somebody else to help promote your book and help participate in the promotion of your book in a very important position as your publisher? Have a nice week. I will see you soon.